Hey Facebook! Kelli Higgins here with Annette Stahl. We are in the Design Discovery showroom today, the Design Center. That's exciting. It's a little bit chilly and a little bit overcast and muddy, so we decided that we would take it inside today. So I'm happy you guys can join us. We are with Keller-Williams, One Legacy Partner, and today we are going to continue our discussions on new construction and some of the questions that people have about building new construction. Last week we talked about getting started and some of those first initial steps. We had several people ask us a little bit more about what some of the real specific steps are about building if they want land, so not a lot that we have already built around in a subdivision, or if they have family land maybe that they already own or that is in the family. What are the steps to build on something like that?
Okay, so land purchase process when building. Of course, I have a piece of paper. I have checklists for everything because we do this every day, or I do this every day, and so I don't always remember what to tell you. So when you ask a question, it becomes a part of a form or a facts you want to know. One big question is when you're looking at land. So we just had the builders go out and look some land in Eskridge. And they were like, the people were like, well, what's our responsibility? What's the landowner's responsibility? That's where a realtor is really, really helpful and will take care of that for you. If you're not using a realtor because it's Grandpa Joe's best friend or whatever the case is, you want to make sure that you have a land survey. They were like, well, it's 40 acres. I don't really need a land survey. Well, you still do. We still got to know where the corners of your property are because you're going to need a septic. You need the driveway. So you need all of that for the permits. So you want to call a surveyor. There's several of them in the area, and you want them to survey and give you a plat, and then they're going to put flags and they're going to put metal pins in the ground. So if your kids are like my kids and they come home with these sticks that the surveyors use.
If you see colors on those sticks, throw them in the trash so nobody sees them. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, my kids were like, Mom, look, we found swords.
Look at this
I'm pretty
flag.
sure the surveyors were not putting out swords. So that is why there's metal pins, and that's why you'll see metal detectors sometimes out there.
And sometimes, too, if you do have a piece of land that you've gotten from family, always ask before paying for another survey just to see if anyone has done a survey in the past, because those pins that are in the ground, they're not always super visible. So if they've already done that survey and the pins are out there and you just don't know it, you're going to save yourself a lot of money if you can go and locate those.
All utilities are going to be whoever buys the land, your responsibility. So a lot of times you'll see land for sale, water meter available. It could be available. Maybe. You want everything in writing, always. I swear, even in personal relationships, I'm starting to put things in writing because you need it.
Friendship contract.
I think it's
Hi,
a good
Stephanie.
idea.
Thanks for jumping on.
So what you want to do is make sure that you call the water district. What water district is it with? Ask for a letter or an email. Email and text count just as legal as getting a certified letter. How much is the water meter and when is it available? Each year, the water districts can change their rules. So if you called right now, but you weren't going to get the water meter until next year, may or may not be viable. So you want to make sure you ask how long is this available and when. Sometimes water districts only give out a certain number of water meters. Sometimes it's unlimited. Every water district is different, so that's what makes it so fun.
Okay, I have a question. So how much on average does a water meter cost?
A water meter can cost as little as $2,500 and as much as $15,000. The average has been running right now around $7,500.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot of difference. That's why you have to call.
Who puts in the water meter?
Your plumber will put in the water meter. You'll pay for it. So as the landowner, you want to pay for it, put everything in your name so you're not paying for a name transfer. So typically you'll put it in your name, and then the plumber or the builder will say, hey, we're ready for it. And you'll call and tell them you're ready. And then the plumber coordinates everything else, or the builder.
Great.
The other utilities that you're going to have to be thinking about is septic if you want to go to the bathroom at your house. You can have an outhouse.
Outhouses, they are back in style these days.
I'm pretty sure they're just for cute. No, so a septic system is where all of your wastewater and all of that goes. The price of that is based on your number of bedrooms, not your number of bathrooms.
That's a big misconception.
So you could have 6 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, and it would only count the 3 bedrooms, which makes no sense.
So if you're on Septic and you add on or finish some of your basement square footage, take note, that is going to affect your septic system.
So we always give you some different little ballparks if you call us. So just in general, you're going to do a Perc Test. People are like,
what is a Perc Test?
A Perc Test is how much water water is absorbs into your ground. So if your ground absorbs water really, really well, you'll have less laterals. Those are the things pushing all the water out. If it does not absorb well because you have rock or you're in kind of that clay stuff, then you're going to need a lot of laterals or a mound system or a different kind of septic that's more expensive. So if you get a great Perc Test, which is about 1/2 inch, that's a great Perc Test, you're going to be probably around $9,000 for a septic on a 3-bedroom home. Now, if you add 4 bedrooms, you go up about $1,500 every time you add a bedroom. If you have a poor Perc Test, like 0.
Like you probably get today.
Yeah. And then you're going to look at $17,000 to $25,000 for a septic system. So again, you're ranging from 9 to 25, depending on number of bedrooms, depending on your Perc Test, depending on all of these variables. People are like, well, do I do a Perc Test before I buy the land? Do you want to spend $500 and never get it back? One of the things you can do is call the county, look at a house next to it, especially if the house is relatively new in the last 10 years. Ask for the Perc Test on that home. You may not have the same Perc, but it'll probably be somewhere similar. And then you can guess based on the rough estimate.
It'll give you a good ballpark of what to expect for cost. Okay, so who puts in the septic?
Again, that will be your builder usually, and usually that's along with a plumber.
So is that included in building the house?
It may or may not be. So these are all questions you have to ask. So when you build on land, we always tell people, here's all the things to ask. And what are you including?
Just side note too, if you guys have land that you're interested in building on, or if you're thinking about it, let us know. Send us a message here or leave us a comment below. You can call us, and we have some PDFs of all of this information that we are more than happy to send you. Okay, so we've covered water meters. We've covered septic. What else is there? How about propane?
Well, if you want
or
gas,
electricity.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about electricity.
Yes.
So I think utility companies are like monopolies. So because you don't have a choice, we're gonna knock over a water truck. Oh, it's earthquake in Kansas. Okay, just kidding. So
this is going downhill real quick, guys.
We don't even have Doug to blame, my dog. So when you have electric, you're going to have Free State in Kansas or Westar. They have very different ways of doing things. Okay, again, get it in writing, because you could talk to one person at Free State and they tell you one thing, and the next person tells you another. Westar, and I'm looking to make sure I tell you the right things. Westar typically gives you $17,000 allowance. That means once they spend over $17,000, you have to cover it. Free State only gives you a $5,000 allowance. So
that's a big difference.
Yes, it's a $12,000 difference. So if you look at land, I know I can do math.
Thanks.
I didn't know if she could. She looks for net, but we're not sure. Okay, sorry.
Now you guys know what I deal with.
And everybody that works with me. So you want to, that's a lot of money. So if
Leslie
the land
will
is
send
free,
you the PDF.
if it's Free State, you're looking at land and it's Free State. So let's say you have 2 pieces of land. One's Free State and one's Westar. The Westar land's going to be cheaper when you go to install. So you have to look at the whole piece together. If you can do an all electric home. Lots of people do that. So that's a choice. Some land will have gas available. Some will not. If it does not have gas available, then you have propane. As a single mom, that was one of the things when I got a divorce. I didn't want the house because I didn't want to deal with propane because somebody always forgot to fill it.
And then you're taking cold showers.
Yeah, nobody's really happy with you, and mom didn't fill the propane. So it just matters how you want to live and what you want.
Okay, I have a question again. No, go back to electricity. What if I want my lines buried?
Sometimes it's extra, sometimes it's not.
But it could be an option.
It could be. It's always an option. Typically, it's extra. There are times they'll throw it in, and we can't figure out why they throw it in sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Typically, overhead is free, and they charge you for underground. But sometimes they throw it in, and like I said, I'm not sure why. Because when we ask, nothing's ever consistent. So
it's another great reason to get that in writing, because if it's something that they say, yes, underground is free and then it doesn't end up being free, that's a great example of a time that's really important to have something in writing.
And it's always important, if you can, to come see us or see your builder or see a realtor, because we'll help you with all of this. We just had somebody this week that we're selling their land and helping them buy different land because their land wasn't buildable. It won't be viable for a water meter for 5 years. So that kind of sucks because now they're, dealing with all those closing costs and origination fees all over again.
And then just their building timeline, it just got pushed back by at least 60 to 90 days.
So that's why we would love for you to make sure to talk to a builder, talk to us. Where do you find a builder? Topeka Home Builders Association is a wonderful way to find a builder if you aren't looking for us. Because all those builders have to be licensed and have all their insurance. So they've been around and they have some experience. Always ask for referrals. Always see their products. We do open houses so you can come see our products, see if you like it, see that's really what our open houses are for. It's an easy way to stalk without commitment.
And we're there and you guys can ask us questions and get to meet us and kind of get to know us, because building a house is a really big commitment. And I understand that you don't ever want to go into something like that blindly without knowing who you're going to be working with.
Yeah, and
it's really an interview. It's the interview process is really important for you to interview us and us to interview you. So those open houses are really perfect to do that at.
And usually if we're not a fit, we'll help you find somebody that is a fit. So I know most of the builders around here and can find somebody that'll work better for you if we're not the fit for you.
Okay, so I have 2 last questions. Another question, first question is, let's talk about the driveway. I know it doesn't have to do with utilities, but that is a question that we get a lot. Is how long can my driveway be? What if I want my house on the very back of my property? And what's that cost?
So typically in the county, you're gonna have to be 100 feet off the road. Everything is by feet. Okay, you're gonna pay for gravel, the amount of trenching, everything. So the farther you are from the road, the more it's gonna cost you. So I did make a little cheat sheet on the low end. The lowest I've ever gotten a house in, getting it build ready, was $19,800.
And that's just the utilities.
That's
setup.
The water meter, the electric, the gas, the driveway, the utilities, and the septic. Okay, that was the lowest I've ever come in.
What did you say it was? It
was $19,800. That's low. The highest, we were at $60,000 once because we hit rock. They wanted to be 500 feet back. I mean,
so what's the average?
The average is usually, I tell people to guess about $30,000.
So if your guys' budget is $300,000, you have to take that $30,000 off of the top. I can't do math, so I'm going to let Annette do that.
Yeah, 270. I really am good at math and Excel spreadsheets.
You guys, we have to make these videos at least a little bit entertaining because sometimes this information is a little dry.
So if you have a $300,000 house, you're going to spend $30,000 on build ready, so you're down to $270,000, and then usually your land is going to be anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000.
Yes.
So then you're down to $240,000 for just the house.
Yes. So let's not forget that utility prep that she said was an average of $30,000. That's on top of the cost of the land that you're purchasing.
So people get confused about that. So I also made a spreadsheet. Anybody that knows me knows I have spreadsheets for everything. To explain that that's what specials are. So people are like, I don't want to be in town. I'm not going to pay specials.
That's a good point.
Basically, you're going to pay that $30,000. Uh-oh.
Someone broke one of the number 1 rules of not silencing their phone.
I thought I was silent.
It's a good song.
It is a good song. Okay, so you're going to pay that $30,000 either in special taxes or you're going to pay it in getting your land build ready. This is where a bank comes in to help because usually people come in and they're like, I want to spend $1,500 a month, or I want to spend $1,000 or $1,800 or $2,000, whatever you want your payment to be. What the bank does is they do your interest, they do what your loan would be, they do what specials and all the taxes are. So you're going to have higher taxes, but your house may only be $270 in the city. So in the city, your payment for a $270 house is going to be the same as a $300 in the county, if that makes sense. Because instead of paying for specials, you're putting it in the cost of the home.
Okay, last question is, what if my land that I want to build on is outside of Shawnee County?
So we build in any county except for Douglas right now. So we build all over. Every county has different rules, so that's why most of them are on this sheet, because they all function different on how to get your building permit, what's required, and how they do it. So you really want to talk. You can always call the county that's getting the building permit and say, what are your requirements? And they'll always give it to you. You can even get a builder's permit and it'll go through and tell you everything. If you get a builder, they're going to take care of that for you. But when you're looking at land, that's a good thing to do. I always tell them to have our builders, if you think Dultmeier Homes is going to be your builder, then have them go look at the land. They usually do it at 7 a.m. Wednesday through Friday. They'll meet you there. They'll talk about it. The one client that was looking at land a couple weeks ago wanted to walk out, and they're like, they shot it with the laser. They're like, yeah, it's going to be daylight unless you bring a bunch of dirt in or you do a bunch of dirt work to push a bunch of dirt out. So they can give you that cost. So if you want to turn into, walkout, it's going to be about $15,000.
How much does it cost for someone to have the builder go and look at their land?
Most builders look at it for free. So they'll run by and give you a free, they're not going to put anything in writing. They're just going to tell you their opinion because they're not doing something official, but they're looking at it and knowing. Chuck's been doing this for, 40 some years. So he's really good about seeing it and knowing pretty much right away. John is my age. Well, actually, he's older. Anyway, I like when they're somebody older because I hang out with younger people too much. So he's usually pretty quick too about saying, here's what we need, here's what we should think about. A lot of times they'll know what's built around it, so they'll know if there's rock or not. John's an old farm boy, so he usually can look at the fields, especially if they're terraced, and see, does it look like there'll be rock or not? My dogs are like,
sorry, it's cracking me up. This cool weather has got like Destiny
it's like my old dog that never gets up. All she does is
even
lay.
the young dog's like, what are you doing?
She's like zipping back and forth like she's me. And Doug's like, who is she?
Right. Okay, guys, so there was a lot of information in this one video. So if you are thinking about building land, it's something that's, been talked about in your family with family land, please rewatch this a couple of times to just get all that information. If you still have questions and are interested in Dultmeier Homes building your new construction home, please reach out to us. Drop us a comment here or message us or contact Annette and I. Whatever is easiest for you. We would be more than happy to discuss some of the options for you. It looks like Leslie also wants the PDF, so we'll be sending that to her as well. So it's pretty easy just to drop a comment. We are planning on doing these kinds of videos for new construction every Thursday. We're going to shoot for 10:30 in the morning, if you know either of us.
I was like,
it might be 10:45.
A warm chai tea. It's cold today.
It is cold today.
That's not on the job site.
So that will be it for us. If you guys leave a comment and let us know what other questions that you have, that would be great. So that way we kind of know what to talk about in upcoming episodes. But this is Annette Stahl. I'm Kelli Higgins. Again, we are real estate agents with Stone & Story Real Estate Group at Keller-Williams One Legacy Partners. We hope you guys make it a great Thursday, and we'll see you next week. Bye.